By far the most comments from last show was, why Annette Funicello? Number one, because her name is fun to say. Annette Funicello. Number two, because I wanted to see if I could screw with the algorithm people at Google. I wanted to see if I could make Annette Funicello the number one searched Annette on Google and have Google's algorithm people trying to figure out, why are people searching Annette Funicello all of a sudden? I think I overestimated the power of the show. We're not quite there yet. Maybe I moved her from number 5 to number 4, but that's it. But we're getting there. We are getting there. Another milestone hit. Thank you. Thank you. Give yourself a round of applause. More and more listeners every week. I can tell people are definitely sharing the show with friends. People are listening to episodes as soon as they go up. Awesome. Thank you. Welcome to the Comparison Group podcast. Subscribe for free on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Audible, anywhere. Follow me on Twitter at comparison_show. Visit the website www.thecomparisongroup.com. Okay, I'm going to move kind of fast this show because we got a lot to get through. Here's the plan. The first half of the show, I'm going to scream about COVID. I promised on Twitter I would answer the two big COVID vaccine questions. Number one, what is in the COVID vaccine? I'm going to tell you today. Get your pens and paper ready. After today, you will never again have to ask what is in the COVID vaccine. Number two, how do we get people to take the vaccine? Now, for this question, we need to recognize every person who doesn't want to take the vaccine is not the same. As I see it, they fall into 5 groups. So I'll address the 5 groups. You have your buck-toothed hillbillies, you have your know-it-all black people, you got your dirty hippies, and so on and so forth. I'll address all 5 groups. I think everyone thinks, or some people think, that anyone who doesn't want to take the vaccine is a Trump supporter, but that simply isn't the case, and I'll explain that. The second half of the show, I'm going to discuss President Biden's agenda, the current legislative agenda, in regards to the John Lewis voting bill, the $1 trillion infrastructure bill, and the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, and how I think Democrats are making a mistake in dealing with Joe Manchin. We'll discuss that the second half of the show if we have time. But first, what is in the COVID vaccine? And I will post this information to the website, www.thecomparisongroup.com, but feel free to write it down if you want to immediately share it with friends or family members who are asking that question. And I thought it might be a big secret. What the ingredients of the vaccine were. But no, it's right there on Google. All you got to do is Google it. What are the ingredients of the COVID vaccine? Let's start with the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. Number 1, messenger ribonucleic acid, mRNA, is the only active ingredient in the vaccine. The mRNA molecules contain the genetic material that provide instructions for our body on how to make a viral protein that triggers an immune response within our bodies. This is what causes our bodies to make the antibodies needed to protect us from getting infected if exposed to coronavirus. Obviously, we've seen, just like anything else, it doesn't give you 100% protection, but it greatly diminishes how sick you get if you get infected with the COVID virus. Number 2, lipids. I think I remember from high school science class, aren't lipids fats? I think so. So there you got some hydroxybutyl, hexadecanatotate. You got a little bit of this here phosphochlorine. You got some disterolol. You got some cholesterol. Number 3, salts. The salts are included in the Pfizer vaccine and help balance the acidity in your body. Potassium chloride potassium chloride, monobasic potassium phosphate, sodium chloride, dibasic sodium phosphate dehydrate. Number 4, sugars. Basic table sugar, also known as sucrose, can be found in the new COVID vaccine. This ingredient helps the molecules maintain their shape during freezing. That's the Pfizer vaccine. Are you paying attention? Please, it took me almost 5 minutes to get this information. The Moderna vaccine, same as the Pfizer vaccine, has that mRNA. It's got that. It's got the lipids. Appears the lipids are a little bit different than the Pfizer, but it has the lipids. It's got glycerol-3, methyl polyethylene glycol, disterol glycol. It's got acids. It's got acid stabilizers, trimethamine hydrochloride, sodium acetate, and sugars. It's got sugars. Now, apparently, these acids, acid stabilizers, salts, and sugar, all of these things are in the vaccine to help maintain the stability of the vaccine. As best as I can understand it, it's like if you make something like meatloaf, you add breadcrumbs, not necessarily for the flavor, but to help hold everything together. So these extra ingredients help to hold the vaccine together, give it some stability. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine, recombinant replication incompetent adenovirus type 26 expressing the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein, a modified and harmless version of a different virus, adenovirus 26, is used as a vector to deliver the DNA gene sequence to produce the coronavirus spike protein. Once the modified adenovirus vaccine enters into the cells, the body of the virus essentially disintegrates and the DNA material within it travels into the nucleus of the human cell where it is transcribed into mRNA. mRNA also in the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The coronavirus spike protein is then produced and displayed on the cell surface, prompting the immune system to begin producing antibodies and activating T cells to fight off what it thinks is an infection. What's in it? Acids, citric acid monohydrate, salts, sugars, ethanol. Yeah, I'm sure they put that in there for something. And that's it. That's it. Those are the ingredients of the 3 vaccines being given to people in the United States of America. They don't change your DNA, and that's explained in this article that I'll post. They don't turn you into a magnet. I did not see any of the ingredients being a microchip. I didn't see any information that it might paralyze you or make you unable to bear children. I basically just saw a lot of long words that I clearly can't pronounce, even if I was actually trying to. Now, if you'd like to go and do some research on what hydroxybutol or potassium chloride or monobasic potassium phosphate is, you feel free to go right on ahead. You wanted to know what's in the vaccine, now you know. And if you're saying, well, yeah, sure, that's what they tell us is in the vaccine, but how do we really know what they're putting in that vaccine? Turn off my show because you're banned. You are now banned from listening to this show. Turn it off, I said. You're banned. You're not allowed to listen anymore. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just not going to deal with it any longer. You now know more about what's in that vaccine than you know about 95% of what you have in your refrigerator right now, than the ingredients you have in your refrigerator right now. What's in orange juice? Oranges. Yeah, but what else? Let's find out. Let's Google it, because we're now really concerned about what we are putting in our bodies. Let's see here. You got some sodium, potassium. You got some carbohydrates. You got 7 grams of sugar. That's a lot of sugar. You got some iron. Okay. What's this? Ethyl butyrate is the main chemical found in orange juice. It's naturally found in citrus foods, but manufacturers add more synthetic ethyl butyrate to flavor packs because it gives the orange juice a fresh squeeze smell. Interesting. I didn't know that was in my orange juice. Did you? No, I bet you probably didn't. But I'll be doggone rootin' tootin' if when you get sick, it's the second thing you reach for. Orange juice is the second thing you reach for when you get a cold. The first is medicine, made by some money-hungry pharmaceutical company. You go get medicine, and you look at the front of the box to see if it's the medicine that you want. Let me see. Is this the medicine for colds, sneezing, coughing, fever, body aches? Yep, I'll take that. At no point do you turn it over to see the ingredients to find out what's in this. You snatch it off the shelves, no questions asked. Some people don't even wait until they get home. You'll crack open that bottle of cough syrup and suck it down right in the car. What's that, you say? Well, that stuff has been FDA approved and around for years. It's not brand new. That's not the point. What's in it? What's in it? That's what you don't know and don't seem to care about when you're sick. And you know as well as I do, if they slap a new formula out there, they slap new and improved on the front of the box, or a new product comes out, you'll take it. You'll take it. You don't care what's in it. If it's going to make you feel better, if it says it's going to make you feel better, you'll take it. Just like the people who end up in the hospital with COVID. They want that vaccine then, and they don't care very much about what's in it, how long it's been around, or whether or not Fauci is getting rich off of it. You don't know what the ingredients are in Coca-Cola. You don't know what the ingredients are or the seasoning in Kentucky Fried Chicken. But we know for a fact both of those things are horrible for you. Horrible for you. It doesn't stop you. Doesn't even slow you down. And in some of the worst states, a state like Texas, the birds are too fat to fly because they don't eat bird food, they eat ribs. And all of a sudden, everyone's worried about what they're putting in their bodies. And of course, you'll take ivermectin. By the way, go ahead and take it. I don't know why they're telling people to stop taking it. Take it and let us know. Maybe you stumbled onto a discovery. That would be great. But once again, I have to help where the media has failed you by not fully explaining why it's not safe to take ivermectin. It's not safe to take ivermectin because it potentially won't treat COVID. As I said, who knows? Give it a try if you want. Maybe we'll find out it does. It's not safe to take it because there's no studies done to figure out what else it might do to you. It's not safe to take it because we don't know if while ivermectin might help with COVID, it may not be good for people with asthma or diabetes or heart trouble. That's why it's not safe to take it. I'm willing to bet you pharmaceutical companies come up with drugs all the time that do a great job of treating exactly the illness they wanted to treat, but they can't sell it because it also does things that they don't want it to do. It has side effects. Maybe it makes you grow a third foot. Just because a drug is proven to cure something like, let's say, Alzheimer, doesn't mean you should take it if it also makes your heart explode. And that's what we don't know about ivermectin. But the same, I don't want to be your guinea pig. I'm not a laboratory. I don't know what's in that vaccine. People seem to be the same people determined to take ivermectin. All right, take it. Be a guinea pig. Be a laboratory. Like I said, let us know how you make out. Before I move on to the next question, how do we get people to take the vaccine? I'm going to play some clips for you here, and I'd like to make an announcement before I do. This is the last time I'm doing this type of COVID show. I won't do it again. I always say this show is not about changing people's minds, but obviously it seems as though I'm trying to change people's minds about the vaccine. And so I'm just not going to do it anymore. It's exhausting. How many times can you say the same thing over and over again? How many times can you try to come up with a new analogy? Well, you get your dog shots, don't you? Sure. It's mandatory. You have to. You have to get your dog shots just in case they bite someone. You don't want them giving someone rabies. It's a public health matter. So it's mandatory. How many times can I come up with stuff like that? So this is it. I won't do it again. Listen to the clips.
Convincing skeptics to get the vaccine is easier said than done, especially in rural areas that are heavily Republican. NBC News political reporter Vaughn Hilliard is in Pineville, Missouri. Vaughn, if I understand correctly, that county has the second lowest vaccination rate in all of Missouri. Why are people there so hesitant to get a COVID shot?
You're exactly right, Allison. We're talking about just 5% of the county here fully vaccinated, and just 8% of the folks in this county have received the first dose here. And that comes down to the very heart of the question. Why is there this hesitancy here that is prevailing based off of conversations we've had with folks? And these numbers are reflected in polling where self-described Republicans across the country, about half of them say that either they're not going to get a vaccine or they're going to wait and see. And in some conversation with folks, including the ones you're about to hear, that's very much what we heard. Take a listen.
I don't care if I look like the wise guy or the dumb guy. It's my decision. I just decided I'm not going to do it. I'm a guinea pig if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm not going to get the COVID vaccine. I don't feel like I don't know. I just feel like I'm good. I don't need to. I take vitamins and whatnot, and I'm pretty healthy, so.
And it's more than just in this community. You're seeing this reflected nationally in these mostly largely white conservative rural communities, even up on Capitol Hill. In the U.S. House, there are still more than 100 members who have declined to receive a vaccine despite it being available to them over the last 3 months, Allison.
Show of hands, how many of you have gotten a COVID vaccine?
These are 4 healthcare workers from different hospitals in North Carolina.
Why not?
We don't know what the long-term side effects are.
It also hasn't been proven to be effective.
The CDC and many public health experts say that it's more than 90% effective.
They do say that. That hasn't proven to me to be true. I'm not going to just jump on a bandwagon with something that has not been tested.
When you say that it hasn't been tested, it has been tested though.
But not to if you look at the normal year span of how long something is tested, it's usually 12 to 14 years before it comes to humans.
Across the country, about 1 in 4 healthcare workers still isn't vaccinated against COVID.
I have the right to question anybody in this country I want to question.
You're entitled to your own opinion, but these are facts.
Are they though? Are they facts?
We're out here because, as you know, California is mandating that all healthcare workers be vaccinated by September 30th. Frankly, that's a violation of human rights. It's a violation of the Nuremberg Code, and it's a violation of the Constitution. They're making us forced to get the vaccine or be unemployed. Soon enough, if you don't have the vaccine, you can't go to your ball game, you can't go outside to get groceries, you can't see your family, you can't go to your best friend's wedding. It's coming.
Well, my body, my choice. This is just one of the chants from healthcare workers here in Bakersfield that took to the streets today to protest the California vaccine mandate. 23 ABC's Brianna Willis has more on what they have to say.
I am willing to lose my job. Like I said, I've been at it for over 19 years. I love it, but I will not give in on this. It's something that I really feel firmly about.
Respiratory technician Carmen Garcia says she's a single mom and she doesn't know what's going to happen come September 30th.
I might have to find a new job. It's scary, but you know what? My God is bigger and God is in control.
Garcia says she's not anti-vaccine, but she's anti-mandate, and adds there's not enough research on the vaccine, so she doesn't want to take the risk because her children need her.
I'm a single mom of my 4 children, and they depend solely on my income. And what if I get severe side effects from that vaccine? What's going to happen to my children?
The mayor is going to fire you if you don't follow his mandate.
Words of anger followed by a crowd of boos as firefighters and police in Newark protest Mayor Ras Baraka's mandate requiring city workers to be vaccinated.
My body, my choice. My body, my choice.
It's hard to watch the pandemic drag on as Americans refuse the vaccine in the name of freedom.
You're talking about an unproven, untested vaccine that doesn't even seem to really protect people because people who've gotten the vaccine are getting sick.
I went to one of the places with the worst vaccination rate.
I don't want a poison forced into me.
I'm tired of y'all trying to control us.
One of the best things we have is our own God-given natural antibodies.
It also has one of the worst COVID case rates in the country. The Ozarks. Christopher Green is 53 years old and fighting for his life. Like 90% of the patients in this packed hospital, he's unvaccinated.
He's just walking a very thin, tight rope right now, and to be honest, I don't expect him to get out of this without being on a ventilator, and if he has to be on a ventilator, I don't expect him to survive.
I immediately asked Christopher, why hadn't he gotten the vaccine?
I'm more of a libertarian, and I don't like being told what I have to do. I'm still not completely 100% sold on the inoculation.
It was eerie to hear Christopher insist on his individual freedoms, even as he struggled to breathe.
Do you think other people should get it? I mean, I think it's everybody's individual right or choice to do what they want to. So I'm not one to dictate or make somebody feel guilty because they don't. Let everybody live their own life.
I heard this over and over. Freedom, choice.
Don't do it because somebody's pressuring you to do it.
Everyone has the right to choose.
Almost everyone I met in Mountain Home told me they knew someone who died from COVID.
No, the state is not going to be requiring and mandating vaccinations.
And I don't believe anyone should be forced to take the vaccine. It should be your personal choice.
These vaccines are always voluntary and never forced.
We don't have to accept the mandates, lockdowns, and harmful policies of the petty tyrants and bureaucrats.
We can either have a free society or we can have a biomedical security state.
One obvious way out is to mandate the vaccine. But in April, the governor signed a law banning government mask mandates and vaccine passports. It seems to me that the only other thing that actually sways people here is being in the hospital.
I really am upset at myself because I did not get vaccinated. I've never hurt like I've hurt. It's made a believer out of me.
This is what freedom looks like in America today. It's always been complicated, but political leaders should remember that this country was also founded on the idea that government should protect us. After all, in a pandemic, one person's freedom can be another person's death.
Probably should have had a little healthier fear that it need to be taken more seriously. I don't know how close I am to being a lot worse. I really don't know.
Christopher Green died 9 days after this interview. He was 53 years old.
So as you heard, it's all over the country. It's all walks of life. White people, black people, rich people, poor people, from North Carolina to the Ozarks to California to Newark, New Jersey. It's everywhere. Republican, Democrats, Libertarians, not just Trump supporters, not just uneducated people, smart people, people that have to have some degree of knowledge to work in a medical profession, not just inconsiderate, uncaring, selfish people, people who are just confused by misinformation. So while I am sympathetic to some of these people, the time for being nice about it is over because we are seeing more and more stories of children ending up in these ICUs. These children can't protect themselves. I edited down all those clips quite a bit, but if you listen to them all the way through, you would have heard over and over again people saying they don't want to take the vaccine or they're not going to take the vaccine because they feel like they're either being careful or they're healthy. I'm not around the public too much. Again, after all of this time, still a lack of understanding. It's not just about you. It's a pandemic. The virus spreads from person to person. It can spread from person to person without a person even knowing they have the virus. After all this time, people still unaware. You can get the virus, you can pass it on to someone who can then pass it on to someone else who can then pass it on to a child. What is the child's defense? Do I even have to get into the insanity of people chaining my body, my choice, and the desire to protect innocent children? And what's going on in this country in regards to the vaccine? Do I even have to get into that? I can't. I just can't. It defies any kind of logic. But all right, come on. Let's move on. Let's bring ourselves back up. That brought us down. Let's bring ourselves back up. All right? Let's talk about the 5 groups. And I've tried to give them names to distinguish them without being offensive. So you got your buck-toothed hillbillies. You know, that's self-explanatory. The South right now seems to be a hot spot for COVID and for people being hesitant to get the vaccine. And these are good people. I just saw a guy on Don Lemon's show the other day. He was being interviewed by someone, and he said, I'm not going to take your vaccine. I'll take the vaccine that Trump took, but I won't take your vaccine. And forget about the logic of that. The guy seemed like a nice guy. He seemed like a nice, fun-loving, good guy who you'd enjoy having a beer with. Not bad people, just, once again, defies logic. Then you got your know-it-all black people. Now, I describe these people, and you hear them call into the radio. This is why I call them know-it-all black people. You get a lot of these people calling into radio shows. And the best way to describe these people are like the character that Damon Wayans played on In Living Color. This is what you generally hear when you hear these people call into the radio to explain why they won't get the vaccine or they won't wear a mask.
First of all, we must internalize the flatulation of the matter by transmitting the effervescence of the Indonesian proximity in order to further segregate the crux of my venereal infection. Now, if I may retain my liquids here for one moment, I'd like to continue the redundance of my quote-unquote intestinal tract. See, because to preclude on the issue of world domination would only circumvent, circumcise the revelation that reflects the aphrodisiac symptoms which now perpetrates the Jericho's activation.
You offended yet? Good. That's what I'm trying to do. Trying to offend you. Trying to get your attention. I told you, the time for the nice guy stuff is over. This is what they sound like when they call into the radio station. And I've heard this is what the discussions they have in barbershops is what it sounds like. The next group you have are the dirty, stinky hippies. That's self-explanatory. And then you have the spoiled, annoying adult brats. These are the people that get themselves taped to their chair in an airplane. You see them all over the internet. They're duct taped to a chair in an airplane. They're screaming like lunatics at some school board meeting. They're spoiled brats who don't want to be told no. And then the last group are people who are legitimately nervous, suspicious, and always have been about any medication, about anything they put into their bodies. They've always been like this, and they just don't know what to do. They're nervous about getting coronavirus, but they're just as nervous about taking a vaccine that maybe they don't understand, maybe they've read a little bit too much misinformation about. They have legitimate concerns. There are people who have legitimate concerns. Now, I'm going to give the answer for the other 4 groups on how to get them to take the vaccine. But for this last 5th group with legitimate concerns, my answer for you is you got to get over it. You got to go get it. You're going to kill yourself. You got to go get the vaccine. All right? So now, the answer for the other 4 groups. I've said it before. I said it months ago. Back around May or April, I said the answer to get people to get the vaccine is a deadline. You have to give people a deadline. Now, back in May and April, I said the deadline should be September 1st. So now I'm calling for a new deadline. The deadline to get the vaccine now is September 30th. That's right. 21 days. 3 weeks to get vaccinated. Now, this directive has to come from President Biden. President Biden has to get on TV, and he has to have that wall of people behind him when he makes the announcement. You have 3 weeks to get vaccinated. He needs people behind him like Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, Alexandria, I only smile when a billionaire dies, Ocasio-Cortez, and especially Fauci. Fauci's got to be there. And when Biden talks, they all have to nod their head and say, that's right. Tell him, Joe. 3 weeks. Now, week 1, there's going to be some rumbling. People will be upset, but they won't really take it seriously. By week 2, Fox News will be stepping up the rumbling. This is tyranny. People just need more time to decide if they want to take the vaccine. By week 3, it'll be an all-out revolt. Fox News and Republicans will be screaming bloody murder and saying if Joe Biden sticks to this September 30th deadline, he's going to have blood on his hands. Now, September 30th comes, and you cut it off. No more vaccinations. Only second shots. Only second shots. If you got the first shot, you can get your second shot. Only booster shots. The announcement is those are the only vaccinations that will be given. And I promise you, as sure as a frog bumps his ass a-hopping, these people will sneak in with the second shot and booster shot people, and they'll get vaccinated. And they'll record themselves afterwards saying, Biden, I showed you I got vaccinated. Fauci, I showed you I got vaccinated. You can't keep me from getting vaccinated. Now, I hear you out there laughing. Come on. You got to keep it quiet. You can't say anything. We got to keep it quiet until they all get vaccinated. Trust me, they won't figure it out. Now, in all seriousness, I don't know if Biden will take my advice. Probably not. And I've kind of given away the plan anyway. I don't know how to convince people to get vaccinated. Maybe it's time to admit we can't and focus on contact tracing, home COVID test, immunity testing. At least if we can identify people better, if we can identify people faster who have COVID, maybe 65% herd immunity will do the trick. And we won't need to get to 75 or 85% immunity. I don't know. If it were up to me, my main focus would turn from trying to force or incentivize these people to get vaccinated to protecting the children, isolating the people who are the greatest risk to spreading COVID, as you would isolate anyone with a dangerous, contagious disease. Some of the most dangerous infectious diseases in human history, smallpox, emerged around 10,000 BC, killed between 300 and 500 million people, eradicated by creating the medical science of vaccination. Influenzas kills between 250 and 500,000 people a year today. Rabies kills anywhere between 24,000 and 60,000 people a year. Leprosy dates back to 2000 BC. In 1980, 5.2 million cases worldwide. In 2015, 178 cases reported in the U.S. It's now easily treated with antibiotics. The bubonic and pneumotic plagues, the Black Death, killed around 50 million people. It's still around today. The bubonic plague is still around today. About 7 reported cases a year. And then HIV/AIDS, a global pandemic, 30 million deaths worldwide, still kills about 1 million people a year. You know what all of those things, each and every one of them, had in common? The most dangerous outbreaks we've ever had in human history? They're worldwide. They're not just in the U.S. We lose focus on that. We forget. These things are worldwide. So everything you think about Fauci or Biden or Trump supporters or this person or that person, all of these things are worldwide. These viruses affect everybody in the world. The virus could care less about your personal freedom, your concerns or your suspicions, your legitimate doubts, or how much you love your children. The virus doesn't care. I was looking up the statistics of the United States compared to the rest of the world. And again, the media fails us here because you have to have a good comparison. You have to look at developed countries, the size, population of the U.S. to get a good comparison. But in any case, what I found was not surprising. When you look at vaccination rates and deaths and compare it to other countries, we're somewhere in the area of a third world country in terms of our statistics. In other words, we have access to the vaccinations and the best medical facilities, but our numbers line up with countries who can't get the vaccinations in the numbers that we can't deliver the vaccinations in the numbers we can, and have a much smaller population. Our statistics in terms of deaths and amount of vaccines given line up with smaller third world countries. That certainly can't bode well for our future. Now look what I've done. I've run out of time. Did I do that on purpose? Yes, I did. I knew I was probably not going to get to the second half of the show talking about Biden's agenda. You see what I did there? I mentioned it so that you'd look for it, but now I'm stringing you along to the next show. Now you have to listen to the next show to see what I have to say about infrastructure and the reconciliation bill and the John Lewis voting rights bill. And I'll explain to you. Where the Democrats are going wrong in discussing voting rights. I'll give you a little preview. I've said on this show, I think the Democrats make a huge mistake when they completely dismiss the idea of voter fraud. I think it's a mistake. I don't think they should do that. When the Republicans are pushing legislation because of voter fraud or they're worried about voter fraud and Democrats push back and say there's no voter fraud, that's a mistake. I think Democrats should say, you know what? Yeah, we're concerned about voter fraud too. We want to put some policies in place to make sure we're protecting from voter fraud. But we see voter fraud a completely different way than you see voter fraud. That allows you to discuss the underhanded things that Republicans are trying to push through state legislators in the same way they're discussing it as fraud, as opposed to suppressing the vote, which is a tough thing to get people to wrap their heads around. People can't really wrap their heads around why voter ID is a problem. They don't really pay much attention to when a particular state passes laws to limit weekend voting or souls to the polls or fewer precincts. People don't pay that much attention. But you throw around voter fraud, people will pay attention. You call some of the tactics voter fraud, and people will pay attention. That's just a little teaser. I got to wrap up. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope maybe I inspired some people to go out and get vaccinated. I really think it would be a good idea. Remember to follow me on Twitter @comparison_show, @comparison_show. Subscribe for free. For free, the show will come to you on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, anywhere where you get podcasts. I'll see you next time.